are concerned, today we are discussing the budget of today. But whatever is in respect of GST only. But whatever has happened is in pursuance to the last GST Council meeting. I think it was 53rd meeting, which was held on 22nd of June, and very momentous decisions were taken. Even despite being a departmental officer, and despite being a fact that I was actively involved in GST training, actually about 52,000 officers of central government, the state government, and union and territory were trained under my supervision in GST before I retired. So I did this all groundwork before I superannuated. But notwithstanding that, I have been keenly watching GST. Basically, I'm both customs person and a GST person both. But this is probably for the first time I feel that government has come out so well. I must compliment the government for coming out so well. And these things, our Chitresh will be dissecting, I've used the word dissecting, the budget proposals, and he's a expert for that. I've attended his webinar earlier also, he's expert for that. So he'll be doing that, dissecting whatever has happened. And Selpiji is also a accomplished person, as he support the both of them work together. And Selpiji is also FCA, MCOM, and as they have got a lot of degrees. So speaking about the budget, we find that certain very good things have been done in this budget. That is about, Section 16 of CGST Act, because there were problems with the trade. With the onset of GST, they would not know as to when they will be taking ITC, and if there's delay in taking the ITC on their level, they will lose the taking of ICT. Initially, the last date for availment of ITC by filing your returns was October of next financial year. You know that. Later, it was extended to November of financial year. And we have got some judgments of Madras High Court in which for initial 2 years, they extended for it 30th of November. That means for 17-18, they said it is 18 November. And for 18-19, they said it is November of 19. That is what they said. This was a precursor, but taking cue from that, and they also from the fact that initially people had difficulties in, I'll use the word integrating themselves with the GST. That difficulty was there. So there were cases, and I'm personally aware of certain cases where people had some delay in claiming the credit in filing GSTR 3B and GSTR 9, with the result that department have been sending them notices for payment of GST along with interest, etc. That notices they have been giving. But now again, if it comes, I think they can easily reply because they have done it for up to 2021 in this budget by inserting a section 16(5), subsection 5 to section 16, in which up to for this financial year up to 2021 they have allowed, and if supposing these returns are filed by 30th of November of 2021. So this is a very welcome step. Another welcome step is that the people who has demands, the government has that details. GST will Chitresh will speak. They have given time up to, I think, to the best of my memory, March 2025. That if they pay, they will be absolved of penal provisions, interest, etc. That also he will be discussing, and the same have been incorporated in this budget. And not only in the budget, it is part of now Act also, part of our CGST Act that is there. But two things which I especially want to mention today, especially to Chitresh and to all of you. Two things which I want to speak, and he'll be speaking that 17 subsection 5 of I think 17.5, 16.5 or 17.5, that blocked credit, and that subsection I of that has been amended, in which they have done away with section 74 and 129 and 130, meaning thereby if somebody has done offense under section 74, which is for suppression and misdeclaration, etc., they were not eligible to take the credit. And same way, 129 for clandestine removal and vehicles in movement in a clandestine way. Those things 129 and 130. But now one very interesting thing, Chitresh has come, which I want to mention to you, is that by doing away with this, they say that section 74 up to 31/3/2024, they have, that is what the amendment they have made.
Yes.
But by doing away with that, one thing I want to mention to you and to flag to you rather, they say that now even if there is offense under section 74, if there's offense under 129, if there's offense under 130, and once your proceedings are closed, in that situation, you are eligible to take the credit by issue of a debit note. So that you will be giving that your views on this. So that is one thing which is another very maybe welcome step, and maybe I do not know whether from the government side or from the council side it is intentional or not intentional what they have done it, but this is what it will boil down to me as I was reading certain articles, and that is what I was finding it out. You will be able to speak about that. So now even for offense under section 274, they will be getting that. That is what is felt, and 129, 130 also, but these are not part of I, that's the subsection I of block credit. Another thing which came today in newspaper, interesting thing, though it is not part of budget, royalty, there is a judgment of Supreme Court. Royalty is an issue where, and the paper is with me here right now here, whether it is a tax or it is not a tax, but the Supreme Court has said it is not a tax. So now if it is not a tax, it will start attracting tax, and that tax will come in the form of GST also. So indirectly it comes under this. So if time permits, you can touch upon this also.
Yes.
But basically for budget, and we are all, very keen and raring to hear you with your incisive views on the budget. So with these words, I will commend this session to Chitresh ji and Silpi ji, and welcome all the participants to this, a special webinar which is being organized by CGA Legal. Thanks, Chitresh ji. Over to you, please.
Thank you, Sanjay Saranji, for the words of wisdom. So now I'll be taking the first session. That is the statutory changes proposed in the Finance Bill number 2, 2024. So friends, if we see the number of changes, there are total 44 changes which has been made in the CGST Act, IGST Act, UTGST Act, and GST compensation cess. So total number is 44. So we will be discussing these changes one by one.
Sir, your screen, the presentation is not moving. It is still on the session floor. Yeah.
Now it is.
Yes. Now it is fine. If you wish to show the previous slide, you can show that first.
Yeah. If I talk about the total number of changes, there are 44 number of total changes which has been made in the various acts related to GST. 37 changes has been made under Central CGST Act. 4 changes has been made in IGST Act. 2 changes has been made in the UTGST Act, and 1 change has been made in the GST Compensation Cess Act. So many of the changes are being consequential due to introduction of new section 74A in the CGST Act, but still there are a lot of changes. So sir, first change is no tax on ENA used for manufacture of alcoholic liquor for women consumption. तो सर अगर हम देखें जो हमारा सेक्शन 9 है which deals with the chargeability under GST Act, it says no tax shall be levied on alcoholic liquor for human consumption which is outside the scope of GST. Now the question arises if there is some material which is supplied for the manufacture of alcoholic liquor for human consumption, then whether that material will be chargeable to GST or not. So one of that material was undenatured extra natural alcohol, and rectified spirit, which was being used in the alcohol, which was used by the alcoholic liquor manufacturing industry for the manufacture of alcoholic liquor for human consumption. And the GST was levied by the manufacturer of the ENA and rectified spirit. So this was the glaring issue since GST was levied on this and the cost of production of liquor industry was getting increased. Now they in this budget they have come out with a proposal to exclude undenatured extra neutral alcohol or rectified spirit used for the manufacture of alcoholic liquor for human consumption from the preview of GST. Meaning thereby अगर ये आइटम कोई कंपनी किसी लिकर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कंपनी को सप्लाई करती है, इन दैट केस नो जीएसटी विल बी लेविड ऑन द सप्लाई ऑफ दीज items. But it can be noted that if these items are supplied to some other company, maybe in my view, these items are also used in case of petroleum companies for blending in the petrol. If these items are supplied for petrol blending, so there may be a case that the GST will be levied in that case. Second is time of supply in case of RCM. So, sir, if we see the existing section 13 subsection 3, which deals with time of supply of services in case of RCM, it says that in case of RCM, the time of supply shall be date of payment or date immediately following the 60 days from the date of issuance of invoice or any other document by whatever name called in lieu thereof by the supplier. Meaning thereby इन दोनों में से जो भी इवेंट पहले होगी, या तो जब हमने पेमेंट कर दी तब, या अगर इनवॉइस हमें मिली है तो इनवॉइस के 60 दिन के अंदर अंदर जो है हमें जो है आरसीएम में टैक्स पे करना होता है. बट एंड वी हैव द रेजुरी प्रोविजन आल्सो which says that if it is not we are not able to determine the time of supply as per the above provision, then the time of supply shall be the date of entry in books of account. So now the problem which was coming is that in many cases, in case of RCM, the supply, the invoice has to be issued by the recipient of supply. So those cases.
Sorry to intervene, but आपका slide नहीं move कर रहा है. You just have to check first.
So can you please start the slide share first?
Now it is coming.
Yeah, can you put it on the slide share mode, sir? I think you have not put it on the slide share mode.
It is on the slide share mode. Let me share it once again.
Yes,
Please.
yes, if you can.
Now it is coming properly.
It's presenting now. Yeah, it is still not in the slide share mode. If you can do the full slide.
So it is in the slide share mode in my screen actually.
Okay. Okay. Fine, sir. We can start.
Yeah. So under the earlier provision, if the self invoice is required to be issued by the recipient or supplier, so there was no clear-cut provision that what will be the time of supply in such cases. So there was some confusion which were prevailing in the industry. What will be the time of supply in those cases? Some companies were taking date of payment and some were taking the date immediately following the 60 days from the date of issue of invoice. So in order to remove this ambiguity,
सॉरी सर, स्लाइड अभी भी दिख नहीं रहा है.
just wait a moment. I don't know what is happening. Entire screen. Present किस करेंगे? Start presenting.
So please start the slide share. It was okay that time. Yeah, please start the slide share. Yes, yes, now it's perfectly fine now.
Now it's perfectly fine. Okay. Kindly let me know if there is some problem. Huh?
Okay.
So now the government has also proposed to amend section 13 subsection 3, which deals with the time of supply in case of reverse charge mechanism. And they said in case the invoice is required to be issued by the recipient, then date of issue of invoice by the recipient or date of payment, the earlier of these two events will be the time of supply. Now, let us come to the time limit for issuance of invoice in case of RCM. So, sir, we have section 31, subsection 3, subsection F. So, as per the existing provision, it says that a registered person who is liable to pay tax under subsection 3 or subsection 4 or section 9 shall issue an invoice in respect of goods or services of both received by him from the supplier who is not registered on the date of receipt of goods or services. So, meaning thereby, registered person is required to issue the invoice when he purchase some goods or services from a person who is not registered under GST. Now, there was no time limit which has been given under this section for the issuance of invoice. So again, there was confusion when the invoice, self-invoice is required to be generated. So in order to remove this ambiguity, the government has proposed to amend section 31 subsection 3 clause F, and it says that a registered person who is liable to pay tax under reverse charge within the period as may be prescribed, meaning thereby कि जो period है for issuing the invoice will be prescribed in the rules, shall issue an invoice in respect of goods or services of both received by him from the supplier who is not registered on the date of receipt of goods or services or both. Further, they have clarified that for this purpose, the supplier who is not registered shall include the supplier who is registered solely for the purpose of deduction of TDS, meaning thereby if there is some person who is not supplying any goods or services but is only registered for the purpose of TDS and that person is deducting TDS, so that person will be treated as supplier who is not registered for the purpose of issuing self-invoice. Now let us come to the another amendment proposed, that is relaxation in the time limit of taking ITC in certain cases. So friend, this is virtually an amnesty scheme, and this amnesty scheme has been provided for initial 4 years, that is 2017, 18, 18, 19, 19, 20 and 2021. As per this scheme, the time limit for availing ITC for these 4 years has been increased to 30th November 2021, meaning thereby अगर आपका कोई भी credit pertain करता था these 4 years 17, 18, 18, 19, 19, 20, 20, 21 and the returns for these periods has been filed up to 30th November 2021. In this case, you can claim the input tax credit for these period. For example, I'm taking an example. For example, the return for pertaining to the year 1819 has been filed in the month of September 2021. So in that case, the ITC related to 1819 will be available. Reason being the return pertaining to 1819 has been filed before 30th November 2021. And this change is effective from the 1st July 2017. So friends, we need to analyze the various cases which are going on at various stages, whether our case falls into this amnesty scheme or not. In friends, let me tell you, in our case also, the department has issued the notice and contended that you are not eligible for the ITC since the time limit which has been prescribed under section 16 subsection 4 for taking the input tax credit has been expired, and the department was demanding the tax on the outward supply but not allowing the input tax credit, being barred by limitation prescribed under section 16 subsection 4. So we need to analyze the cases where these type of notice has been issued, and if if the notice has been issued and your case falls into satisfy these conditions, in that case you can take the benefit of the amnesty scheme. But again, the government has come out with amnesty scheme, but definitely there is a disincentive for the honest taxpayer, because as per this scheme and as per the proposed change, the government says if the taxpayer has paid the tax or reverse the input tax credit, then no refund shall be admissible. Meaning thereby this benefit will be available only to the litigant, and it will not be available to the person who has paid the tax or reversed the input tax credit. Now let us come to the another proposed change, that is relaxation in the time limit of taking ITC in certain cases. So, sir, this change has been proposed to remove the practical difficulty which was coming in many cases. For example, let me give you one example. Suppose there is a ITC pertaining to financial year 2013 to financial year 23-24, but in the month of August 24, your registration gets cancelled, and your registration is revoked and restored in December 2024. Now the question is ki when your registration has been cancelled in August 2024 and again it has been revoked and the cancellation registration has been revoked and registration restored in the month of December 2024. So during this period, the time limit for availing the input tax credit has expired for the financial year 23-24. Now, if there is a credit, leftover credit of financial year 23-24, which was supposed to be claimed between this period, so you cannot, could not have claimed that credit because during this period your registration was not live, and since the registration was not live, you were not able to file your GST 3B during this period. So in order to remove this hardship, the government has proposed this amendment and proposed to insert new subsection 6 in section 16, whereby if your registration is cancelled and revoked, and where ITC in respect of goods or services has not expired, meaning thereby जब आपका रजिस्ट्रेशन कैंसिल हुआ था उस डेट पे जो आईटीसी था आपको जो लेना था वो एक्सपायर नहीं होता. अगर बेसिकली अगर जो है रजिस्ट्रेशन रिवोक हुआ आफ्टर द एक्सपायरी ऑफ द पीरियड prescribed for taking the ITC, then there is no benefit which can be availed. So you can claim the benefit only when you have the leftover ITC related to the previous year at the date of cancellation of the registration. तो अगर आपका रजिस्ट्रेशन बाद में रिस्टोर होता है तो आपको इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट मिल जाएगा if provided you file the return within 30 days from the date of revocation of cancellation of registration. The another is no ITC of tax paid under section 129 and 130. तो सर अगर मैं जाऊं section 17 subsection 5 clause I which deals with the block credit, it says input tax credit shall not be available in respect of following, namely any tax paid in accordance with provision of section 74, 129 and 130. Meaning thereby अगर taxpayer ने कोई भी tax pay करा है under these three sections, then input tax credit is not available to the recipient. So friends, there two changes has been made under this. First of all, the reference to section 74 has been made limited to financial year 23-24. Reason being, as I go in, as I move forward in my presentation, you will come to know section 74 is applicable only up to financial year 23-24, and after 23-24, that is from financial year 24-25, a new section has been inserted, which is 74A. So that's why the restriction imposed under this section has been limited for the financial year 23-24. And further reference to section 129 and 130 has been removed. Reason being, no tax is being paid under these sections, only penalties levied under section 129 and 130. But friends, one important thing you can note here that कि they have not mentioned section 74A, which is going to be newly inserted in this clause I, meaning thereby if the taxpayer has paid tax under section 74A, in that case the credit will be available to the recipient from financial year 2024-25 and onwards. Now come to the another change, monthly mandatory filing of return by TDS deductor. So sir, if I see presently, if there is a person who is required to file the TDS return, in that case he files the TDS return only for the month in which he has made the deduction. There was no legal provision to file the TDS return in case nil TDS return in case there are no TDS deductions. Now the law is proposed to be amended, and in case of TDS deductor, the TDS deductor will be required to file the even nil returns. Now another change is no refund of ITC or IGST where goods are subjected to export duty. तो सर अगर मैं existing provision की बात करूं, section 54 subsection 3 contains a proviso which says that no refund of unutilized input tax credit shall be allowed in case where the goods exported out of India are subject to export duty. Meaning thereby अगर आप कोई exporter हैं और आप export without payment of tax कर रहे हैं, in that case आप unutilized input tax credit का refund claim करते हैं. तो अगर आप unutilized input tax credit का refund claim करते हैं तो there was caveat कि अगर आपने जो गुड्स एक्सपोर्ट करे हैं उस पर एक्सपोर्ट ड्यूटी लगती है तो आपको अनयूटिलाइज इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट का रिफंड नहीं मिलता. बट यहाँ पर लॉ में एक लक्यूना था जो कि ये जो प्रोविजन कहता था वो कहता था रिफंड जो नहीं मिलेगा वो आपको अनयूटिलाइज इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट का नहीं मिलेगा. लेकिन सपोज इफ आई एम एक्सपोर्टिंग द गुड्स विद पेमेंट ऑफ IGST, तो इन दैट केस इनडायरेक्टली आई वाज गेटिंग द रिफंड बिकॉज उस केस में कोई भी ऐसी कंडीशन नहीं थी. तो to provide the level playing field, now the government has proposed to insert new subsection 15 in section 54 of the CGST Act, which says that no refund of unutilized input tax credit on account of zero-rated supply of goods or integrated tax paid on account of zero-rated supply of goods shall be allowed where such zero-rated supply of goods is subjected to export duty. Meaning thereby, चाहे आप goods without payment of tax export करें, चाहे आप विद पेमेंट ऑफ टैक्स एक्सपोर्ट करें, अगर दोनों ही केसेस में अगर आपके जो गुड्स हैं आर सब्जेक्टेड टू एक्सपोर्ट ड्यूटी, आपको दोनों ही केसेस में रिफंड नहीं मिलेगा. तो सिमिलर काइंड ऑफ अमेंडमेंट हैज आल्सो बीन मेड अंडर सेक्शन 16 ऑफ द IGST Act. So friends, one more thing you can note here, in the earlier provision they had used the word where the goods exported out of India. So it was talking about the goods exported out of India, but it does not mention about the zero-rated supply. But in the amendment, they have used the term zero-rated supply of goods. So earlier the restriction was only on the export of goods out of India. Now it will also be applicable on the goods which are supplied to SEZ unit also. Then another is enabling an authorized representative to appear on behalf of the summoned person. So friends, we are getting a lot of summons under section 70 of the CGST Act, wherein the proper officer is asking you to appear before him in person and give the statement. And this provision was troubling a lot of people because even the summons are issued to the director, key manager person and the senior CFO officers, and they were required to be present and give the statement in person. Now the enabling provision has been inserted under section 70 by way of subsection 1A, wherein the authorized representative can also appear on behalf of the person. So it is a welcome change. Now come to the very important change, that is no more section 73 and 74 and adjudication under section 74A from financial year 2024-25. तो फ्रेंड्स, जो हमारे सेक्शन 73 जो है और जो 74 है वो डील करता है नॉन पेमेंट ऑफ टैक्स, शॉर्ट पेमेंट ऑफ टैक्स, एरोनियस रिफंड और रॉन्ग अवेलमेंट ऑफ ITC और यूटिलाइजेशन. तो सेक्शन 73 deals with the non-fraud cases and 74 deal with the fraud cases. So friend, these two sections, the applicability of these two sections has been restricted up to financial year 23 and 24 only, meaning thereby starting from financial year 24-25, the new section has been introduced, that is section 74A, and this section will deal with the fraud as well as non-fraud cases. So meaning thereby जो हमारे जो litigation है वो आपका financial year 2023-24 का तक का तो गवर्न होगा सेक्शन 73 एंड 74 से, और अगर कोई litigation है from financial year 2024 -25, that will be governed by provision of 74A, and this is a combined section for fraud as well as non-fraud cases. Now, if I talk about the time limit for issue of notice under the new section 74A, the SCN can be issued within 3.5 years, meaning there were within a period of 42 months from the due date of filing annual return. तो 42 महीने का टाइम दिया गया है फॉर इशुएंस ऑफ शो कॉज नोटिस. अगर मैं अर्लियर प्रोविजंस की बात करूं 73 एंड 74, तो अंडर सेक्शन 73 विद दीस विद नॉन फ्रॉड केसेस, दिस टाइम वाज 2 years 9 months, basically 33 months, and rest 3 months has been given for the adjudication to the authority. And in case of fraud, it was 4 years 6 months, and that is 54 months and 6 months has been allowed to the authority to pass the order. So somewhere in between, they have prescribed the time limit for issuance of notice, that is 42 months. Now, the time limit for the order under new section 74A. So under new section 74A, order can be passed within 12 months from the date of issuance of SCN, meaning thereby the government has given the more time to the adjudicating authority for passing the order. Like you have seen in section 73, it was only 3 months, and under section 74, it was only 6 months. Now, under the new proposed section 74A, will be 12 months. And further, this period can further be extended by 6 months, meaning thereby now the assessing authority will have the time of 12 months plus 6 months for adjudication of the cases, meaning thereby 18 months will be available to them for adjudicating the case. Now, let us come to the penalty and the payment of tax. So, in case of prior to issuance of SCN, so it is broadly similar with the earlier provision of section 73 and 74. So, if prior to issuance of SCN, tax and interest is paid, so under section 74A, I have complied in 2 cases, non-fraud case and fraud case. So, in case of non-fraud case, the penalty will be nil, and in case of fraud cases, it will be 15%, which is similar to the existing provisions. And if tax is paid within 60 days of issuance of SCN along with interest, then in case of non-fraud cases, it will be nil, and fraud cases, it will be 25%. So friends, if you notice here, if tax is paid, tax and interest is paid within 60 days, earlier it was 30 days within the issuance of SCN. So the government has allowed additional time of 30 days under section 74A for deposit of tax and interest. Then, if tax and interest is paid within 60 days of the issuance of order, so again, earlier this period was also 30 days of issuance of order. Now, in the new section, it will be 60 days of the issuance of order. So, in case of non-fraud cases, it will be 10%, and in case of fraud cases, the penalty will be 50%. And still the tax and interest is not paid, and the SSC opts to litigate the matter. So, in case of non-fraud case, the penalty will be 10%, and in case of fraud case, the penalty will be 100%. So friends, it can be noted that in non-fraud cases, minimum 10% penalty shall be liable in case self-assessed tax. I think not is wrongly printed here. In case of self-assessed tax, and in case where tax collected but not paid within 30 days of the due date, meaning thereby अगर आपका self-assessed tax है और आपने कोई tax collect करा but pay नहीं करा within 30 days of the due date, in that case minimum 10% of the penalty you have to pay it. So consequent to introduction of new section 74A, various consequential changes has been made into the various provision of the CGST Act. Reason being, if we see various sections, these various sections of the CGST Act contain reference of section 73 and 74. When these sections are going to be restricted up to financial year 23-24, so the reference of section 74 is also required to be inserted in many places. So these are the list of sections where the reference of section 74A has been inserted. Now let us come to the redetermination of penalty in case of shifting from non-fraud to fraud cases. So sir, there can be a situation that initially the assessing authority has issued the notice to you considering you as a fraud case, but later on they find you it is found that it is not a fraud case but it is non-fraud case. So what will be the amount of penalty? So they have inserted new subsection 2A under section 75 which says that कि initially अगर assessing authority ने जो है आपको fraud case में notice दिया था, but later on it is being held by appellate authority, appellate tribunal or court that it is not a fraud case but it is a non-fraud case. So in that case, the penalty prescribed for the non-fraud case, that is 10%, shall be levied on the taxpayer. Then another welcome change is reduction of the amount of pre-deposit required to be paid for filing appeals. So friends, हम जानते हैं सेक्शन 107 डील्स विद द अपील टू फर्स्ट अपीलेट अथॉरिटी. तो यहाँ पर जो है अभी जब भी हम अपील फाइल करते हैं टू द फर्स्ट अपीलेट अथॉरिटी, वी नीड टू गिव द प्री डिपॉजिट फॉर फाइलिंग द अपील. तो द अमाउंट ऑफ प्री डिपॉजिट हैज बीन रिड्यूस्ड फ्रॉम 20 करोड़ from 25 crores to 20 crores for CGST and 20 crore for SGST. Now another change is empowerment regarding matter to be adjudicated by principal bench of GST tribunal. So various amendment has been proposed under section 109 of the CGST Act which deals with the GST appellate tribunal. So first is the change is seeks to empower the appellate tribunal to examine the matters or adjudicate the anti-profiteering cases, meaning thereby जो anti-profiteering के केसेस हैं उसको एग्जामिन एंड एडजुडिकेट करने की जो पावर है वो जीएसटी अपीलेट ट्रिब्यूनल को दी जा रही है बाय वे ऑफ दिस अमेंडमेंट. एंड इट फर्दर सेड दैट जो ये मैटर है एंटी प्रॉफिटेरिंग से रिलेटेड, दीज मैटर्स शुड ओनली बी डील बाय प्रिंसिपल बेंच ऑफ द जीएसटी अपीलेट ट्रिब्यूनल. Further, it also empowered the government to notify the type of cases that should be heard only by the principal bench of the appellate tribunal. Meaning thereby now the government has the power to specify what type of cases will be heard by the principal bench of the appellate tribunal. Now let us come to the time limit for filing appeals in GST appellate tribunal. तो फ्रेंड, जैसा कि हमको पता है कि अभी तक जीएसटी ट्रिब्यूनल जो है बन नहीं पाई है और फुली फंक्शनल नहीं हो पाई है, तो गवर्नमेंट भी टाइम टू टाइम इसकी डेट बढ़ाती जा रही है. तो अगेन इन दिस बजट आल्सो दे हैव अमेंडेड सेक्शन 112 एंड इट सेज दैट द टाइम लिमिट टू फाइल एन अपील बिफोर द जीएसटी अपीलेट ट्रिब्यूनल विद इफेक्ट फ्रॉम 1 अगस्त 2024 शैल बी लेटर ऑफ द फॉलोइंग विद इन 3 months ऑफ द अपीलेबल ऑर्डर. मतलब 3 महीने के अंदर जो आपका ऑर्डर है उसके 3 महीने में करें, या डेट नोटिफाइड बाय द गवर्नमेंट व्हिच एवर इज लेटर. जो भी गवर्नमेंट डेट नोटिफाई करेगी इन दोनों में से जो भी बाद में होगा उस डेट तक यू कैन फाइल द अपील बिफोर द जीएसटी अपीलेट ट्रिब्यूनल. फर्दर, इन केस ऑफ डिपार्टमेंटल अपील्स द बजट हैज seeks to extend the time limit for filing the departmental appeal. So as per the normal provision, the department can file the appeal within 6 months, but extension of 3 months has been given by way of amendment. So now the department can file the appeal before the GST appellate tribunal within 6 plus 3 months, total 9 months. Now the another amendment proposed is reduction in pre-deposit for filing appeal before the GST appellate tribunal. Now the maximum amount of pre-deposit for filing the appeals before the appellate tribunal has been reduced from existing 20% to 10% of the taxing डिस्प्यूट, जो पहले हमें प्री डिपॉजिट देना था अपने ट्रिब्यूनल में अपील फाइल करने के लिए, दैट वाज 20%. नाउ दिस हैज बीन रिड्यूस्ड टू 10% ऑफ द टैक्स इन dispute. And also the maximum amount payable as pre-deposit has been reduced from 50 crore to 20 crore in central tax as well as state tax, meaning thereby total will be 40 crores, 20 central tax, 20 state tax. Now another very important change which is going to impact many taxpayer is waiver of interest or penalty for demand under section 73 for financial year 17, 18, 18, 19 and 19, 20. तो सर पहली चीज तो यहाँ नोट करने वाली है, दिस चेंज डील विथ ओनली सेक्शन 73. अगर आपके पास कोई नोटिस 74 का है और सेक्शन 74 में एडजुडिकेट हुआ है तो डेफिनेटली दैट नोटिस विल नॉट फॉल अंडर दिस प्रोविजन. तो सर इसके लिए जो है गवर्नमेंट ने एक नया सेक्शन प्रपोज करा है, दैट इज सेक्शन 128A in the CGST Act, and it is to provide for the waiver of interest and penalties for demand notices issued under section 73 of the CGST Act for 3 financial years 17, 18, 18, 19 and 19, 20. तो सर जो हम ITC की बात कर रहे थे, जो ITC के लिए अमनिस्ट्री स्कीम आई थी उसमें 4 साल की बात थी, उसमें 1921 भी था, बट ये जो एमनिस्ट्री स्कीम है और जिसमें जो वेवर ऑफ इंटरेस्ट और पेनल्टी की बात की गई है वो खाली 3 साल के लिए करी गई है, इनिशियल 3 इयर्स. तो कौन कौन सी सिचुएशन कवर्ड होंगी जिसमें हम वेवर ऑफ इंटरेस्ट एंड पेनल्टी ले सकते हैं? तो उन्होंने कहा है कि 4 सिचुएशन कवर्ड होंगी इसमें. आपको SCN इशू हुआ था, वो SCN इशू एडजुडिकेट नहीं हुआ और वो अभी एडजुडिकेटिंग अथॉरिटी के पास पेंडिंग है, या आपको SCN इशू हुआ था, आपके पास ऑर्डर आ गया और आपने उसके लिए फर्स्ट अपीलेट अथॉरिटी में अपील कर दी लेकिन अपील पेंडिंग है, या आपने जो है फर्स्ट अपीलेट अथॉरिटी का भी ऑर्डर आ गया, आपकी GST अपीलेट ट्रिब्यूनल में अपील पेंडिंग है जो अभी होगी नहीं, जो कि वो अभी बनी नहीं है, बट प्रोविजन इज देयर, या आपके पास नोटिस और ऑर्डर 74 में आया था, नोटिस और ऑर्डर अंडर सेक्शन 74 कंसिडर्ड एज नॉन फ्रॉड केस बाय बेसिकली नोटिस और ऑर्डर आपको 74 में आया था, उसके अगेंस्ट आप जो है अपीलेट अथॉरिटी और ट्रिब्यूनल में गए या कोर्ट में गए, उसमें उन्होंने हेल्ड करा कि ये फ्रॉड केस नहीं है, इट इज ए नॉन फ्रॉड केस, तो ये भी इसमें फॉल हो जाएगा. तो अगर आपका केस इन 4 सिचुएशन में फॉल करता है तो इन दैट केस द टैक्सपेयर कैन पे द टैक्स एज पर नोटिस और ऑर्डर ऑन और बिफोर द ड्यू डेट नोटिफाइड बाय द गवर्नमेंट. तो सर यहाँ पर कोई भी डेट अभी नहीं दी गई है, द गवर्नमेंट विल नोटिफाई द डेट कि उससे पहले अगर आप टैक्स पे कर देते हैं तो आपको इंटरेस्ट और पेनल्टी का वेवर मिल जाएगा. एंड ऑल द प्रोसीडिंग इन रिस्पेक्ट ऑफ दैट नोटिस और ऑर्डर डीम्ड टू बी कंक्लूडेड सब्जेक्ट टू कंडीशंस. तो व्हाट आर द कंडीशंस? तो सर फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल जो वेवर ऑफ इंटरेस्ट और पेनल्टी है, इट इज नॉट एप्लीकेबल इन केस ऑफ एरोनियस रिफंड. Second, if an appeal already filed by the department, suppose department ने अपील करी और revisional proceeding initiated by the department, the amount of tax payable is increased, the same shall be payable within 3 months from the date of said order. Meaning thereby अगर in case of departmental appeal आपकी जो है amount बढ़ जाती है टैक्स की, तो आपको 3 महीने के अंदर अंदर from the date of said order पे करनी पड़ेगी. Interest and penalty has already been paid, no refund of the same shall be अवेलेबल. तो सर यहाँ पर भी गवर्नमेंट ने ऑनेस्ट टैक्सपेयर के साथ जाती करी है कि अगर आप ऑनेस्ट टैक्सपेयर हैं और आपने पहले ही इंटरेस्ट और पेनल्टी पे कर दिया था तो उस केस में गवर्नमेंट ने यहाँ लिख दिया है कि हम आपको रिफंड नहीं देंगे, हम खाली जो वेवर देंगे वो डिसऑनेस्ट टैक्सपेयर को ही देंगे. तो अपील और रिट पेटिशन फाइल्ड हैज टू बी विथड्रॉन बाय द सेड पर्सन ऑन और बिफोर द डेट नोटिफाइड बाय द गवर्नमेंट. तो अगेन अगर आप इंटरेस्ट और पेनल्टी का वेवर लेना चाहते हैं तो जो आपने अपील और रिट फाइल करी है वो भी आपको विड्रॉ करनी पड़ेगी. एंड नो फर्दर अपील कैन बी फाइल्ड इन द मैटर कंक्लूडेड अंडर द स्कीम. अगर आप स्कीम में चले गए और आपने इंटरेस्ट का और पेनल्टी का वेवर ले लिया तो आप उसके अगेंस्ट अपील नहीं कर पाएंगे. तो फ्रेंड्स, गिवन द स्कीम we need to analyze the various cases which are pending at various forums for the 3 years 17, 18, 18, 19 and 19, 20, whether our case falls under this and whether we can claim the waiver of interest and penalty. So it looked like the amnesty scheme is not applicable on order which attained finality. तो सर जहां पर भी सेक्शन है वहां पर कहीं ना कहीं ऑर्डर या नोटिस पेंडिंग है. बट सपोज आपके पास कोई ऑर्डर आया बट you have not appealed against that order and the time period for filing the appeal for that order has been passed and you have not litigated, so it means the order has attained the finality and you cannot do anything. So in my view, if the order has attained finality and you have not litigated the matter, in that case the benefit of section 128A is not available to you. It will cover cases of interest and penalty also. अगर आपके कोई notices हैं जिसमें खाली interest है penalty है, तो those cases can also be covered by section 128A. Now another change is addition to Schedule 3rd to Section 7 of the CGST Act. So Schedule 3rd to the CGST Act contains the list of activities or transactions which are neither treated as supply of goods or not treated as supply of services. तो उसमें एक क्लॉज ऐड करने की बात हो रही है जिसमें वो कह रहे हैं नो जीएसटी ऑन एक्टिविटी ऑफ अपॉर्शनमेंट ऑफ को इंश्योरेंस प्रीमियम. कई बार क्या होता है जो इंश्योरेंस होता है वो इतना बड़ा होता है कि दो तीन इंश्योरेंस कंपनी मिलके उसको इंश्योरेंस को करती हैं और आपस में उस इंश्योरेंस प्रीमियम को शेयर करती हैं. तो जो इंश्योरेंस प्रीमियम को अपॉर्शन करा है लीड इंश्योरर ने दूसरे को इंश्योरर के साथ जो रिकवरी करी है और वो शेयर करा है, तो क्या उस पर जीएसटी लगेगा नहीं लगेगा. तो इसमें इन्होंने कहा है द एक्टिविटी ऑफ अपॉर्शनमेंट ऑफ को इंश्योरेंस प्रीमियम बाय लीड इंश्योरर, मतलब जिसने लीड ली थी जिसने पूरा इंश्योरर कराया और बाद में उसको बाइफरकेट कराया टू को इंश्योरर फॉर इंश्योरेंस सर्विस जॉइंटली सप्लाइड बाय द लीड इंश्योरर एंड को इंश्योरर to the insured in co-insurance agreement shall be treated as neither supply of goods nor supply of services, provided the lead insurer pays the tax liability on the entire amount of premium paid by the insured. ये तो हो गई, वो तो लीड इंश्योरर तो टोटल पे पे करेगी, लेकिन अगर उन्हें जो अपॉर्शनमेंट करा है को इंश्योरर से उस पे जीएसटी उसको नहीं चार्ज करना है. Similarly, another change is services by insurer to the reinsurer for which the ceding commission or insurance commission deducted from the insurance premium paid by the insurer to the reinsurer, then it shall be treated as neither supply of goods nor supply of services, provided that the liability on the gross reinsurance premium inclusive of the insurance premium, insurance commission, ceding commission is paid by the reinsurer. So in these two cases, it will not be treated as supply of goods or not supply of services. Now come to other budget proposals. So there is a under the chapter assumptions, the government is proposing to insert new section 11A to give powers to the government on the recommendation of the council to allow regularization of non-levy or short levy of GST where tax has been short paid or not paid due to common trade practices. तो फ्रेंड्स अगर आपने देखा हो कि क्या काफी चीजें इंडस्ट्री में नॉर्मल ट्रेड प्रैक्टिसेस की तरह भी हो रही हैं और जो गवर्नमेंट है वो काफी सारी नोटिफिकेशन भी ला रही है कि जी की भी एज इज वेयर इज बेसिस पे जो है कई ट्रेड प्रैक्टिस को रेगुलराइज भी कर रही है, बट देयर इज नो लीगल बैकिंग फॉर द सेम. तो इन ऑर्डर टू प्रोवाइड द लीगल बैकिंग की जहां पर इंडस्ट्री नॉर्मल ट्रेड प्रैक्टिस से टैक्स चार्ज कर रही थी लेकिन जीएसटी लॉ उसको अदरवाइज कहता था कि इस पे टैक्स लगेगा और बाद में गवर्नमेंट उसको एज इज वेयर इज बेसिस पर रेगुलराइज कर देती है, तो उस केस में कोई लीगल बैकिंग ही नहीं थी. तो इन ऑर्डर टू प्रोवाइड द लीगल बैकिंग दे हैव कम आउट विद एनेबलिंग प्रोविजन कि अगर कोई ऐसा केस है तो गवर्नमेंट हैज द पावर फॉर रेगुलराइजेशन ऑफ दैट प्रैक्टिस. नाउ if there is some industry and there is some common practice which is being followed and which is divergent from the GST law, now it is a good case for the industry to make a representation to the government regarding the common trade practice and so that the government can regularize that practice if they think so. Now the another is revocation of registration shall be subject to rules. Now one enabling power has been given under section 30 subsection 2 wherein the condition and restriction for revocation can also be prescribed by the rules. The another is penalty on ECO to be limited to those who is liable to TCS under section 52. तो सर हमें पता है एक सेक्शन आया था सेक्शन 122 सबसेक्शन 1B wherein certain penal provision has been prescribed for the electric commerce operators. Now amendment has been made under section 122 subsection 1B and it is being stated that the provision related to penalty will apply to only those electric commerce operator who are liable to collect the TCS under section 52. If there is a e-commerce operator who is not liable to collect the TCS under section 52, in that case, the penal provision under section 122 subsection 1B is not applicable. Then there is some change related to transition credit for ISD invoices. So some clarificatory change has also been made under section 140 subsection 7 and it is with retrospective date from 1st July 2017 to provide for the transition credit in respect of invoices pertaining to services provided before the appointed date, meaning their appointed date means 1 July 2017, and where invoices are received by the input service distributor before the appointed date. मतलब services भी पहले provided हुई और इनवॉइस भी इनपुट सर्विस डिस्ट्रीब्यूटर के पास 1 जुलाई 2017 से पहले आ गई तो उसका भी क्रेडिट सेक्शन 140 सबसेक्शन 7 में वो थ्रू आईएसडी मैकेनिज्म ट्रांसफर कर सकता है ट्रांजिशन रेट को. नाउ सनसेट क्लॉज इन एंटी प्रॉफिटेरिंग प्रोविजन. तो फ्रेंड्स हमें पता ही है कि इनिशियली टू पास ऑन द बेनिफिट ऑफ एडिशनल इनपुट टैक्स क्रेडिट व्हिच इज अवेलेबल अंडर जीएसटी, the government has come out with the anti-profiteering provisions. Now the GST is already a 7 years old law now. Now the government is thinking to put the sunset clause to the anti-profiteering provisions, and they have proposed the date of 1st April 2025, after which the provision relating to anti-profiteering shall not be applicable. So thanks friends, from my side I am done with the budget proposals. Now I invite CA Pranjal Agrawal to take the deliberation forward.
Thank you, sir. I thank you for providing me the opportunity to express my thoughts over the changes made in the GST laws in recent past days. I must say recently, the provisions in GST law has to go through multiple changes through 53rd GST Council meeting and Union Budget 2024. So I'll be discussing the changes made through the notifications issued post the recommendations of the 53rd GST Council meeting. Now I shall be presenting. Hope my screen is visible to all.
Yeah, your screen is visible.
Yeah, so I'll be discussing and analyzing the notifications issued post recommendations made by the 53rd GST Council meeting. So first is relating to biometric based Aadhaar authentication. So the changes relating to applicability of provisions relating to biometric based Aadhaar authentication to pan India basis. Earlier, these provisions were applicable only for the states of Andhra Pradesh, Gujarat, and Puducherry. So now this has made applicable to whole of India. Another is relating to amendment of Rule 8, Sub-Rule 4A with effect from 10th of July 2024 is also relating to biometric-based Aadhaar authentication. So there are two cases into the same. Once when the assessee has opted for the Aadhaar, authentication of Aadhaar number, and secondly when the assessee has not opted for the authentication of Aadhaar number. So in case where the assessee has opted for the Aadhaar authentication number, and in that case, if it is identified on the common portal based on the data analysis and this parameter, then that assessee need to go for biometric based Aadhaar authentication. And if the assessee has not opted for Aadhaar authentication, then the assessee needs to compulsorily go for the biometric based Aadhaar authentication to the GST facilitation center, along with the verification of all the original copy of documents uploaded with the application. Another change is relating to additional conditions for cancellation of registration. So one more condition has been added, wherein the GST registration of an assessee can be cancelled by the GST authorities, and that is relating to non-furnishing of GST return within 30 days from the date of order of revocation of cancellation of registration. So if an assessee does not file the return within 30 days from the date of order of cancellation of registration, then registration of such assessee may be cancelled. Next, we come to changes in the valuation of corporate guarantee, that is Rule 28. पहले क्या था, पहले काफी कॉर्पोरेट गारंटी के टैक्सेबिलिटी और वैल्यूएशन में काफी एम्बिग्यूटी थी कि इस पर टैक्स लगना चाहिए या नहीं लगना चाहिए, या फिर इसकी वैल्यूएशन कैसे होनी चाहिए. सो प्रीवियसली गवर्नमेंट हैड इंट्रोड्यूस्ड Rule 28 Sub Rule 2 to provide the valuation mechanism for the purpose of computing liability on service by way of corporate guarantee. So, by notification 12/24, the government has made the changes into that rule itself, that is Rule 28 2. First is relating to that the provisions of valuation of corporate guarantee shall not be applicable in case of export of services. The words has added the located in India. So that means if the recipient is located in India, then only the provisions are applicable. And another one is relating to valuation of corporate guarantee shall be done on per annum basis. Another ambiguity which was relating to corporate guarantee valuation was that when the recipient is eligible for full input tax credit. So as per Rule 28 Sub Rule 1, the proviso says that where the recipient is eligible for full input tax credit, the value declared in the invoice shall be deemed to be the value of the said supply of services. So ambiguity ये थी क्या ये rule, क्या ये proviso 28(2) पे भी applicable होना चाहिए या नहीं होना चाहिए. So for that, the government has introduced the same proviso into 28(2) also, and these changes have been made applicable from 26th of October 2023. There are certain clarifications also which have been provided in relation with the valuation of corporate guarantee. If the corporate guarantee has been provided before 26th of October 2023, that is before the effective of this rule 28(2). So what would be the position? So clarification has been provided that valuation should be done according to Rule 28 as it existed at that time. So जैसे अगर पुराना केस है तो पुराना वाला रूल लगेगा और नया केस है तो नया वाला रूल एप्लीकेबल होगा. नेक्स्ट क्लैरिफिकेशन इज रिलेटिंग टू अगर क्या कॉर्पोरेट गारंटी की वैल्यूएशन लोन के अमाउंट पे डिपेंड करती है या नहीं करती. सो क्लैरिफिकेशन ये दी है सीबीआईसी ने कि कॉर्पोरेट गारंटी की वैल्यूएशन उसके लोन अमाउंट पे नहीं होगी, उसकी अपनी वैल्यू जो उसकी खुद की वैल्यूएशन होगी कॉर्पोरेट गारंटी की वो उस पर डिपेंड होगी. And the third clarification is relating to impact on GST in case where there is a takeover of existing loan. अगर कोई existing loan take over कर लिया जाता है लेकिन उसमें corporate guarantee की value same रहती है तो क्या GST पे impact आएगा या नहीं आएगा. So CBIC ने clarify किया है कि कोई GST पे impact नहीं आना चाहिए. Next clarification relating to corporate guarantees, where corporate guarantee is provided by more than one entity co-guarantor, what is the amount on which GST is payable by each co-guarantor? So for instance, if there are two co-guarantors A and B who jointly provide the corporate guarantee to banking financial institution on behalf of related recipient C for 1 crore, then A and B shall each pay GST on 0.5% of the amount of amount guaranteed. However, if in the above case of A and B providing corporate guarantee jointly to a banking financial institution on behalf of related recipient C for 1 crore, A provides guarantee for 60% of the guaranteed amount and B provides for the 40% of the remaining amount, then GST shall be payable proportionately, that is 0.6 and 0.4%. The another change is relating to no interest on delay in filing return if the amount is available in the electronic cash ledger. पहले क्या होता था कि अगर किसी एसएससी की 100 रुपए की लाइबिलिटी है, आउटपुट टैक्स पेबल है, और उसके इलेक्ट्रॉनिक क्रेडिट लेजर में 60 रुपीज का बैलेंस है, तो बैलेंस 40 पे उसको इंटरेस्ट पे करना पड़ता था अगर वो डिलेड फाइल, अगर वो उसकी GSTR 3 भी लेट फाइल होती थी. बट देयर इज अ चेंज इन दिस प्रोविजन. अब क्या होगा कि अगर उसके कैश लेजर में भी 40 रुपीज का अमाउंट पड़ा है, जो कि वो जब वो लेट फाइल करेगा 3B को, उसको यूटिलाइज कर लेगा, तो वो इंटरेस्ट पेबल नहीं बनेगा. So the proviso has been inserted in Rule 88B1 of CGST rules in this regard. Another one is the introduction of Form GSTR 1A to amend GSTR 1. So a proviso has been inserted in Sub-Rule 1 of Rule 59 to provide that a person may, after furnishing the details of outward supply of goods or services of both in Form GSTR 1 for a tax period, but before filing of return in GSTR 3B for the said tax period, at his own option, वो amend कर सकता है details जो furnish करी है उसने GSTR 1 में. But here the things which are important is कि वो कब तक फर्निश कर सकता है, जब तक उसको 3B फाइलिंग की डेट आती है, उसके बाद वो GSTR 1A में कुछ भी अमेंडमेंट नहीं कर सकता. So this form is an optional form which does not levy late fees. ये एक ऑप्शनल फॉर्म है. GSTR 1A फाइल करना, अगर किसी को अमेंडमेंट करनी है तो वो कर सकता है, ये कोई जरूरी नहीं है कि उसको GSTR 1A फाइल ही करना है. The particular declared in GSTR 1A along with particular declared in Form GSTR 1 shall be made available through Form GSTR 3B. Change of recipient GSTN shall not be allowed in GSTR 1A. Recipient का GSTN cannot be changed in GSTR 1A. For that, amendment need to be made in GSTR 1 itself. HSN wise and document series can be amended through GSTR 1A. So supplies declared or amended in GSTR 1A shall be made available in the next month Form GSTR 2B. अब क्या होगा कि अगर कोई सप्लाई इस मंथ में दिखाई है GSTR 1 में, तो वो नेक्स्ट मंथ के उसी मंथ के 2B में रिफ्लेक्ट होती है. फॉर एग्जांपल, इफ अ सप्लायर इश्यूज 2 invoices in INB 1 and 2 in the month of January 23, then he furnished the details of the invoice INB 1 on 8th February 23 in Form GSTR 1. However, he misses one invoice INB 2 and furnishes the detail of the same in GSTR 1A on 15th of February 23. In that case, INB 1 will go to the GSTR 2B of the recipient in the month of January, क्योंकि उसने जनवरी की GSTR 1 की ड्यू डेट से पहले उसको INB 1 को GSTR 1 में दिखा दिया था, लेकिन INB 2 को उसने 15 फरवरी को दिखाया है, तो उसकी वो 14 मार्च के 2B में रिफ्लेक्ट होगी. अदर रिटर्न रिलेटेड चेंजेस जो कि रिटर्न से रिलेटेड चेंजेस हैं, मिसलेनियस चेंजेस like decrease in the threshold limit for furnishing the details of interstate B2C supplies in GSTR 1. Earlier this limit was 2.5 lakh and that has been reduced to 1 lakh with effect from 1st of August 2024. Next is relating to extension of due date for furnishing GSTR 4 that is applicable to composition taxpayers. The date has been extended to 30th of June 30th of June of the next financial year, and earlier this was 30th April of the next financial year, and this has been made applicable from financial year 24-25 onwards. So next is relating to exemption for filing annual return. This exemption has been provided for previous year also, which provides that if a taxpayer is having aggregate turnover up to 2 crore, then he is exempted from furnishing annual return for the financial year 23-24. Refund of additional IGST paid on upward revision of prices subsequent to exports. पहले क्या होता था कि जो गुड्स के केस में जो भी रिफंड क्लेम होता था वो ऑटोमेटिक होता था. जब हम GSTR 1 और 3B फाइल करते थे, उसके बेसिस पे आइसगेट पोर्टल मैच करके और हमारे अकाउंट में GST रिफंड, IGST का रिफंड क्रेडिट हो जाता था. और अभी क्या उसमें एक एनॉमली थी कि अगर इन केस अगर गुड्स के प्राइजेस सब्सिक्वेंट टू एक्सपोर्ट्स रिवाइज हो जाते थे, तो उस केस में जो IGST की लाइबिलिटी होती थी वो भी सब्सिक्वेंटली इंक्रीज हो जाती थी, जो कि एक्सपोर्टर को पे तो करनी पड़ती थी बट उसका रिफंड नहीं मिल पाता था. सो द गवर्नमेंट हैज इंट्रोड्यूस the mechanism from where he can get the refund of additional IGST paid on upward revision of prices subsequent to exports. So for that, earlier there was no form prescribed for furnishing for claiming refund in case of export of goods. So now the claim shall be taken from GST RFD 01 before the expiry of 2 years from the relevant date. And one more important thing is that ये provision केवल इंटर जो IGST का रिफंड है उस पे एप्लीकेबल होते हैं, ITC के रिफंड पे एप्लीकेबल नहीं होते हैं. So there are certain clarifications also which has been provided by CBIC in relation to additional IGST on upward revision of prices. Like there is not a perfect mechanism right now on the GST portal. So an assessee can file the refund on GST RFD 01 under any other category. Like there is no category which has been provided right now on the GST portal to file the refund claim. But now the assessee can file during such time to the assessee can file the refund under any other category, and many other clarifications has been provided. The next amendment is relating to e-way generation by unregistered person. Amendment of Rule 138, Sub-Rule 3, the functionality of generation of e-way bill by unregistered person. पहले क्या होता था कि अनरजिस्टर्ड पर्सन के पास एनरोल करने की कोई फैसिलिटी नहीं थी GST e-way bill पोर्टल पे, बट अ फैसिलिटी हैज बीन प्रोवाइडेड नाउ to enroll on e-way bill portal for an unregistered person through form GST ENR 3. Next amendment is relating to allocating tax paid through form GST.
ENR 3 वाला डेट स्पेसिफाई किया है अभी इन्होंने? डेट दिया कि ENR 3 कब से करेंगे, इसका डेट दे दिया इन्होंने?
Sir, I think this amendment is with effect from the date has not been announced yet.
Date has not been specified.
Date not specified so far,
Yes,
no?
yes.
First of all, the GSTN will develop the required functionality on the
Yes.
e-way portal actually.
ठीक,
So
okay.
I think that may be the logic. They have not specified the date.
Yes, okay.
So the next amendment is relating to allocating tax paid through form GSTR DRC 03 to electronic liability ledger. पहले क्या होता था कि कोई भी डिमांड ऑर्डर आता था अंडर सेक्शन 73 और 74, और उस केस में अगर कोई एसएससी उसकी लायबिलिटी DRC 03 से पे कर दिया करता था, और तो वो जो इलेक्ट्रॉनिक लायबिलिटी रजिस्टर में डिमांड क्रिएटेड ऑलरेडी रहती थी थ्रू इशुएंस ऑफ ऑर्डर, वो नॉक ऑफ नहीं हो पाती थी. तो एक फॉर्म DRC 03A हैज बीन इंट्रोड्यूस्ड बाय द गवर्नमेंट, जिससे कि वो लायबिलिटी लिंक हो जाएगी. अगर हमने DRC 03 से पे किया है तो DRC 03A फाइल करने के बाद वो जो लायबिलिटी पे करी है वो उससे लिंक हो जाएगी, और जो अमाउंट डेबिटेड ऑलरेडी हुआ था इलेक्ट्रॉनिक लायबिलिटी रजिस्टर में वो क्रेडिट हो जाएगा. बट दिस इज नॉट एप्लीकेबल वेयर फॉर्म DRC 05 हैज ऑलरेडी बीन इशूड फॉर द कंक्लूडिंग ऑफ द प्रोसीडिंग्स बाय द टैक्स ऑफिसर. अगर टैक्स ऑफिसर ने प्रोसीडिंग्स कंक्लूड कर दी हैं, फॉर्म DRC 05 इशू कर दिया है, तो DRC 03A कैन नॉट बी फाइल्ड. Next amendment is relating to change in rate of tax collected by e-commerce operator. This is a minor change which has maybe a minor or major. The rate of TCS under section 52 has been reduced. Earlier it was 1% and now it has been reduced to 0.5%. There are certain miscellaneous changes also which is relating to Rule 39 substituted, which provides the manner of distribution of ITC by ISD. That has been notified now. Rule 95 has been inserted to provide the procedure of refund of tax paid on inward supply of goods received by canteen stores department, notified along with issue of circular. Rule 110 has been substituted to provide the procedure for appeal to appellate tribunal, which has been notified now. Rule 111 substituted, which provide the procedure of application of appeal to appellate tribunal. A rule 113 has been inserted to provide the procedure of withdrawal of appeal to appellate tribunal. Now, next is relating to we have already discussed the notifications, non-tariff notification, we can say. So now we will proceeding to tariff notification or rate notification that has made the changes in a certain rate of goods or exemption on services. First is the exemption on services made through notification 4/24 in the notification 12/17. The first is relating to exemption on service provided by Indian Railways to general public, like sale of platform ticket facility of retiring room, waiting rooms, clock room services, battery operated car services, intra railway transaction, etc. Service relating to service provided by one zone division under Ministry of Railway to another zone Ministry of Railway, service provided by special purpose vehicle to Indian Railway, and the accommodation service provider provides any service to any person who provides the accommodation service to any person having value of supply of accommodation up to 20,000 per month per person, subject to condition that the accommodation service is supplied for a minimum continuous period of 90 days. There are other changes made in the GST rate of goods like carton box, corrugated papers, milk cans made of iron and steels, solar cookers, etc. So these are all the changes which have been made in the GST rate of goods. I have detailed the same in the presentation. So I thank you, and I would like to invite CA Shilpi Gupta ma'am to start a deliberation.
Thank you, Pranjal. I'm just presenting. I hope my screen is visible to all.
Yes, it is visible.
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. Just once. Hope the screen is visible and my voice is audible.
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect.
Ma'am.
So thank you, CA Pranjal Agarwal, for a very nice deliberation. So Pranjal is one of our senior members with respect to research and litigations wing of CGA Legal. And thank you, Pranjal, for a lot of deliberations. So friends, we have seen changes with respect to budget. We have seen changes with respect to notifications, but that is not all. So we have some circulars which have been issued on 26 June 2024. And I would like to take all of you in respect of those circulars. I would like to discuss those circulars. क्या changes हैं? So total, sir, 21 circulars issue किए गए थे. And right now we'll be discussing some significant circulars. कुछ circulars notifications के साथ भी discuss किए हैं हमारी team ने. So now we'll be discussing some major circulars. Circular number 207. This circular is basically fixing the monetary.
Slide move nahi ho rahi. Shilpi, your slide is not moving.
Okay, I'll share it once again. Is it better now?
No, it is not coming.
Just a minute. Just once. Okay.
Now it is coming.
Please check if this is okay.
Now it is visible.
Perfect, perfect. So basically, we were discussing circular number
Can you
20.
go back and start again?
Yeah. So we were discussing that abhi total 21 circulars issue हुए हैं, and now we'll be discussing. Hello.
It is not moving.
Is it still not moving? Are you
Yes,
able
it
to
is
see?
not moving.
I'll just check. Entire screening over. Let me do it 1 second. Achha, entire screen. If this is fine now,
Yeah, it is coming. Yeah, it is fine.
Perfect. So basically, sir, we were discussing key 21 circulars issue हुए हैं, and now we'll be discussing some major circulars with you, which has relevance for the industry as a whole. Circulars majorly काफी industry friendly हैं, according to me. The first circular which I am discussing is fixing the monetary limit for filing appeal or applications. Now, yes, circular basically issue हुआ है just to make sure that the department is there is a of fixing the monetary limit with respect to cases. ये इस तरीके के issues, इस तरीके के actions service tax में भी लिए जाते थे. So now, in order to reduce the litigative pressures on the judiciary, monetary limits fix की गई हैं. So monetary limits for GST is 20 lakh, High Court is 1 crore, and Supreme Court is 2 crore. Now, how will we calculate this monetary limit? So in case if there is an issue where there is a disputed tax amount along with penalty and interest, then only tax amount will be used. जब अगर डिपार्टमेंट ने कोई केस फाइल किया है जिसमें कि आपके ऊपर डिमांड नोटिस जारी किया जिसमें कुछ टैक्स अमाउंट था, उसकी वजह से रिजल्टेंट इंटरेस्ट और पेनल्टी है, तो अगर टैक्स का अमाउंट 20 लाख और अबव होगा तभी वो जी स्टैट में जा सकता है. Similar is the case अगर if the dispute involves only with respect to interest, then the monetary limit will be based on the interest amount. Same is the case with penalty, late fees. Now, if there is a demand with respect to interest, penalty, and late fee, then aggregate of interest, penalty, and late fee will be taken. In case the demand pertains to erroneous refund आपने according to the department आपको refund गलत sanction हुआ है, so the refund amount will be taken. The total refund amount, which includes my CGST, SGST, and all the taxes, will be taken for calculating this monetary limit. Now, if there is a composite order, suppose multiple appeals के basis पे composite order आपको मिला है, then total of the orders where there is a disputed tax liability or interest, etc., then the total tax amount or the interest amount penalty will be taken for calculating the monetary limit. Now, इसमें जब हम monetary limit की बात करते हैं, तो हम बात करते हैं कि monetary limit किस पे लगेगी? Monetary limit लगेगी on the disputed amount. So, for example, if there is a demand which has 5 different issues based on which the department has raised the demand. Now, assessee has accepted 3. There is a dispute only with respect to 2. So then the monetary limit will be calculated based on the value of those 2 issues, whether that is exceeding the monetary limit or not. So that is how the monetary limit will be calculated. Right. Now, the second thing is there are certain exclusions. So monetary limit हर case में calculate होगी and for filing of applications by the department, but कुछ cases में filing decisions by the department will be based on the merit of the case. ये कुछ क्या cases हैं? If there is any provision of act or rules basis which are held to be ultra vires, आपके according to the department ये unconstitutional है. Second, where any order, notification, instruction, circular has been held to be ultra vires the act or rules. Similarly, if there is a matter which is related to valuation or classification of refunds or place of supply or such issues, जहाँ पे interpretation of provisions involved है. So where there is a stricture or adverse comment which has been passed, अब अगर किसी government अगर कोई order ऐसा issue हुआ है जिसमें government department के ऊपर कोई cost impose की गई है, then department can file the appeal irrespective of the monetary limit. Similarly, any other case or class of cases where in the opinion of the board it is necessary to contest in the interest of justice or revenue. So net अगर कुछ जो cases ऐसे हैं जिसमें matter of law involved है, interpretation of law involved है और according to the department वो unconstitutional है, तो monetary limit देखने की जरूरत नहीं है. The next thing is certain cases, अब suppose हमने department ने because of the monetary limit being lower than the threshold limit, case आगे file नहीं किया है, they have not gone to the higher authority. Then what are the consequences? First of all, ऐसे cases में department को specifically उन cases में mention करना पड़ेगा that we are not accepting the decision, but because the case is below the monetary limit, that is the reason we are not going to the higher authority. So in case when these cases are being these cases will not have any precedent, the orders of such cases will not have any precedent value. These cannot be used by SSC. The decisions of these cases cannot be used by SSCs by fighting of their other cases. Similarly, it will not preclude the tax officer from filing appeal in any other cases of similar matter, जहाँ पे monetary limit is above the threshold limit. So, for example, for person A, the monetary limit was lower, but in the similar case, for person B, the monetary limit is beyond the threshold limit, which has been fixed by the department. Then proper officer has full authority to go to the higher level and file an appeal. Similarly, there will be no presumption that department has acquiesced the decision on the disputed cases. So as I told you in the first instance, कि अगर इस department हम ये presumption नहीं लेंगे कि department has accepted the cases where we are not able to file where the department is not able to file the appeal because of the monetary limit issue, we will not presume the department has accepted it. Now, the second circular is specifically meant for pan masala, tobacco and hookah companies. So there was a notification issued, notification number 04/2024 on 5th January 2024. यहाँ पे हमने एक special procedure दिया था for registered manufacturer of specified goods. Now, this is specifically meant for pan masala, tobacco, hookah industries. Now, once this special procedure was given, there were a lot of queries from the trade associations. Now, which has led to the clarifications. Now, this is specifically meant for a certain industry, so we are not going beyond this. It is available in the presentation. We are coming to the next circular, which is clarification with respect to place of supply for goods if recipient is unregistered. Now, section 10 subsection 1 of IGST Act was inserted on which has been made effective on 1st October 2023. Now, clause CA was inserted by the notification. Now, as per clause CA, the place of supply in case of goods which are supplied to an unregistered person will be the place of supply will be the location of the recipient as recorded in the invoice. Now, in case if there is no such address is recorded in the invoice, then the place of supply will be the location of supplier. Additionally, an explanation has also been inserted in clause CA, which says even if we are recording the state of the unregistered person, now it will be deemed as recording of address of the person. Now, the clarification which has been issued right now is, sometimes what happens is, this is specifically happening in case of e-commerce operators, e-commerce platform. The person X is unregistered. He goes to Amazon. His billing address is different and his delivery address is different. Now, in this case, the trade associations have asked a clarification that what should be the place of supply, whether the billing address or the delivery address. So the circular has clarified that in such cases, the delivery address should be taken into consonance for calculating the place of supply. To my understanding, it is basically because when it comes to unregistered person, it is assumed that consumption of that particular product has assumed finality. So since the life cycle of the product or the product is finally consumed at this stage, thus the place of delivery is this basically the state where the product is finally consumed, and which is the reason why place of supply is taken at the place of delivery of that product is taken as the place of supply in this case. The second circular is a very, very important circular, circular number 211. Now, this is basically talking about ITC time limit under section 16 subsection 4. Sir, we receive lot of import of services, we receive funds with respect to, we receive we receive services like royalty, fees for technical know-how. Then we also have unregistered transporters. So we receive lot of services from them. Now, when we are paying, now these are basically the supplies which are received from unregistered person on which the recipient is liable to pay RCM. So point in this is the step number 1 in such transactions is supply is received from the unregistered person. Now, second point is where the tax has to be paid by the recipient under reverse charge. Now, the third point is in such cases, as per section 31(3)(f), the recipient has to issue a self-invoicing. Now, what happens is there is in the earlier, though this issue has been rectified now in the recent with the recent change in the budget. Earlier, what used to happen is the time of supply was the time of supply was governed by the section 13 subsection 3, which says 60 days from the 60 days from the date of invoice. 60 days from the date of invoice. But here the issue was the invoice has to be, whose invoice it is. Is it the invoice of the unregistered person, which is usually a kacha bill, or is it the self-invoicing, which has to be done by the recipient? And whatever, then if basis the time of supply, what should be the ITC eligibility? How the ITC eligibility will be calculated? Now, as per the department, they used to say you should use the ITC, the services have been received. When the services has been received, the time of supply should be the time and on which the time the services have been received. The trade associations used to claim that since it is based on self-invoicing, the ITC can be claimed on self-invoicing. Then with respect to claim of ITC, we should be taking the date of invoice on which the recipient has raised a self-invoice. So a clarification has been issued now that based on the cases where RCM supplies has been received from unregistered person and the recipient has to issue an invoice. For the purpose of section 16 subsection 4, the date of invoice will be the date of self-invoicing. So for example, I have received royalty in financial year 23-24. However, financial year 23-24, but I have created the self-invoice of the same in 24-25. So with respect to ITC, 24-25 will be considered as a financial year for which I will be able to claim. I will be claiming ITC. So if I have issued an invoice in 24-25, then the last date to claim ITC will be 30th November 2025. Now, however, as per the circular was issued before the finance proposals came. So as per the circular, the time of supply again will be governed by the earlier provisions. Now, if I combine the finance budget changes and the circular, it means that my liability to pay will also be from the date of invoice on which I have raised the self-invoice, and I'll be able, my ITC claim will also be, my ITC claim or my time limit for section 16 subsection 4 will also start from the date when the self-invoice is created. Now, this will have huge implications on all such transactions. Think about secondment of employees, think about RC, think about royalty payment, think about fees for technical, all will be impacted because of this clarification. Again, before I move, this is a clarification which has been issued. So this will be also applicable to earlier cases. So where the department has cases where the department has denied ITC and the cases are pending, we can actually look into such transactions. The next circular is valuation of supply of import of services by related persons where full ITC is available. Again, a very, very important circular. Especially again in the cases of import of services, like there have been a lot of litigation or a lot of demand from the department with respect to the RCM payment, with respect to secondment of employees, royalty. Now you have not paid tax, so all such demands have come in from the department side. Now a very clear clarification has been issued that Rule 28, which deals with the valuation of outward supply when it is done between the distinct or related persons, there is a very clear rule that if the supply is between related persons and the recipient is eligible for full ITC, then invoice value is deemed to be the open market value. There is also a reference which is given with respect to circular number 199, a very, very important circular whereby it was held that if there is an inter-unit services or a services which is given between distinct persons like head office and branch office. Now, if an invoice is issued, then whatever and the person and the the recipient unit is eligible for full ITC. Then, if an invoice is issued, then the transaction value or the taxable value will be the value of the invoice. And if no invoice is issued, then it is assumed that it is nil value. Now, this rule and the circular will be also applicable on valuation of supply of import of services by related persons, in case the recipient is eligible for full ITC. This will again have a very, very huge impact. Yeah, so there are a lot of companies, even the companies which we are also handling, which have a parent company sitting outside. They pay for royalty, they pay for fees for technical know-how. In such cases, the companies used to pay so much amount of RCM. Now, with this clarification, the values of tax payment will be negligible. Again, this is an important step, an important legal step from the government side, because it was actually a zero revenue game. We pay RCM and we used to take the complete credit. So this is definitely from ease of doing business from the government side, and a very, very logical step. The next is post-sale discount. I think one slide has missed out. There is a circular with number 212 with respect to post-sale discount. Now, as you know, that there are two types of discount. One is a pre-sale discount and other is a post-sale discount. In pre-sale discount, the discount is given on the invoice itself. So when the discount is given at the time of supply, and it is mentioned on the invoice, the taxable value is calculated net of the discount, and the GST is levied on the same. In case of post-supply discount, that means a discount which is given after the supply is effected. Now, that is called post-supply discount. There are certain conditions basis which it will be excluded from the taxable value. Number one is should be based on an agreement which is an agreement which is available at the time of supply or before the time of supply. So it should be based on certain agreement. Then second, it should be linked to the invoices. The third is that there should be a proof that the recipient has actually reduced the value of tax. Now, first two were always available with the supplier. The third was always an option. There was always an issue that how come we know that whether my recipient, my customer, has actually reduced the ITC or not? Because see, when I'm making a supply, let us say I'm supplying the goods of ₹1,000 to my customer. So I have paid 180 rupees GST, and my customer has taken ITC of 180. Now, let us say I have given him a volume discount at the end of the year amounting to 500. Then ideally he should reduce 90 rupees. The point is that whether he has actually reduced 90 rupees or not, I have issued him a credit note, but I do not know whether he has reduced the ITC or not. So the government has come out with this functionality. Since the government also did not have any other way, so government has come out with this functionality. How to find the evidence, what they will consider as a suitable evidence for reversal of ITC. So as per the circular, if the tax involved in the discount is more than 5 lakhs, then they will accept the certificate of a CA and CMA, which is certified, a certified CA and a certificate from CA, CMA. So in CA, the UTIN number has to be generated, and this certificate will detail the invoices, the discount, and the amount of ITC reversal. So it will have the complete detail, and it will be certified by the CA that the recipient has actually reversed the ITC in respect of these transactions. Now, if the amount of tax involved in the discount is up to 5 lakhs, then an undertaking from the taxpayer or the undertaking from the customer will also be acceptable. So then the next circular, The next circular is with respect to warranty and extended warranty. Now, this usually happens in the automobile and FMC sectors, whereby when a product is being sold, the product is sold along with the warranty and extended warranty. Now, in case any defect is being found and the customer reports these defects, then the part of the product or the goods as such is replaced with no extra cost. Now, for this, there were always issues that whether the GST should be payable on this such products which are replaced or not, or whether the ITC in respect of such products which are being replaced should be reversed or not. So, for this, department has issued a very important circular number 195 on 17th July 2023. Now, this circular, this circular number 216 is an extension to 195. Now, this circular gives the reference of 195 and extends the principles followed in circular 195 to this circular. The first important point is, as per circular 195, if any part of the product is supplied to the customer on account of the conditions of warranty and no consideration is charged for the same, then it will be considered that the consideration of those product is actually the warranty cost which is inbuilt in the cost of the product, and hence no additional GST is supposed to be paid, and there is no requirement from the part of the supplier to reduce any ITC on the same, since it is completely in conformance with the GST law. Now, so this circular is clarifying that the term parts can, even if we are replacing complete goods as such. So, for example, I have sold a product, and it comes out I've sold a mixer grinder, and suppose it comes out that the mixer grinder is defective. I am replacing the entire mixer grinder. So, whether I'm replacing a part or I'm replacing the goods and such, the principle will remain same. If no consideration is charged, then no additional GST is to be payable and no ITC has to be reversed. The second clarification which has been issued is, when distributor is replacing the parts or goods using their own stock on behalf of the manufacturer during warranty and subsequently usko replenishment mil jati hai from the manufacturer via delivery challan, then no GST is applicable on such replenishment, and there is again no ITC requirement, because this is just a part and parcel of the transaction where distributor is only acting as a via media. Now, the next is, if extended warranty against payment is provided by the supplier of the good, then it will be considered as a composite supply. क्योंकि supplier ही guarantee का supplier है. Ultimately, अगर मारुति है, suppose मैंने गाड़ी खरीदी, तो मारुति अगर extended warranty देते हैं, तो ultimately the repair services and the replacement of part will be provided by Maruti itself. So, when extended warranty against payment is provided by the supplier of the goods, it shall be a composite supply. But if the supplier of these goods and the supplier of extended warranty are different, that means मारुति मुझे कोई extended warranty नहीं provide कर रहा, but मेरा जो dealer है वो मुझे extended warranty provide कर रहा है, then that such type of extended warranty will be a distinct supply of service and it cannot be considered as a composite supply, right? Now, this is important because cars ka rate of tax is different and warranties will be taxed at 18%. So, this again is a very, very big relief for the industry. An important clarification. The next clarification is with respect to ESOPs, which is provided by companies to its employees. Now, usually what happens is, this is very, very prevalent practice with big multinationals and also the IT companies, whereby what they do is, they as a part of the employment package, they tell their employees that as a part of the employment package, we will give you the stocks or the securities of our foreign holding company. And so the employees has the option to either purchase the shares at a pre-decided price, or they can wait and they can hold this option and they can vest it in the future itself. So once the employee wishes to purchase, the holding company directly transfers these shares in the name of the employee, and the Indian subsidiary company transfers gives the reimbursement of cost on cost basis to the foreign holding company. Now, issue which was raised here is that whether the reimbursement which is being made by the Indian company to its foreign holding company, will it be classified within import of services, since is it like transfer of financial services? So the clarification which has been issued is, number one, the transfer is happening. The transfer is happening with transfer which is happening is of securities, which is outside the purview of GST. पहली चीज. दूसरा, the securities, this entire transaction is happening by virtue of, it is a part of employment remuneration of the employee. And since whatever employment is, if it is a part of employment package, then it is actually neither a supply of goods or not supply of services. It comes under the negative list of Schedule 3. Third point which has come out is, since the reimbursement is being made on cost to cost basis, and the reimbursement is made with respect to the securities which is being transferred by holding company to the employee, there is no requirement of import of services, because there should be underlying supply. Only then the import of services can happen. Then again, an important circular with respect to loan by overseas affiliate. Now, सर दो तरह के लोन्स होते हैं. एक फॉरेन होल्डिंग कंपनी ने इंडियन सब्सिडरी को लोन दे दिया अपनी. सेकंड, मेरे डायरेक्टर ने कंपनी को लोन दे दिया. There can be, and with no consideration, उन्होंने सिंपल लोन दे दिया. So इसमें क्वेश्चन ये आया कि if there is no consideration except interest, then whether this will be considered as a taxable supply under GST or not. Now the circular has clarified, if there is no consideration in the form of processing fees, administrative charges, loan granting charges, or from any nomenclature other than by way of interest or discount, it cannot be called a supply of service. And thus there is a no question of GST levy on such transactions. Again, ये भी एक बहुत important है. अगर आप देखेंगे in the Indian diaspora, आपको बहुत ज़्यादा promoter led loans दिखेंगे in बहुत सारी companies. ठीक है, whether it can be a promoter company or it can be an individual promoter. So this is again like corporate guarantee, ये भी एक बहुत major issue था. There are a lot of circulars which has been issued with respect to insurance industry. Now, first, one of such circular is valuation of life insurance services. Now, there is a special valuation rule, Rule 32, Sub-Rule 4, which deals with how to value the premium, the taxable value when it comes to life insurance premiums. So, इन्होंने कुछ 4-5 cases दिए हैं जिसके basis पे हम taxable value करते हैं. So, अगर if policy is dual benefit of risk coverage and investors, like ULIP, जिसमें लाइफ कवर भी होता है और इन्वेस्टमेंट भी होता है, तो इसमें टैक्सेबल वैल्यू होगी ग्रॉस प्रीमियम चार्ज लेस अमाउंट एलोकेटेड फॉर इन्वेस्टमेंट. तो अमाउंट इन्वेस्टमेंट की तरफ एलोकेटेड है उसको हम लेस कर देते हैं, सिर्फ प्योर लाइफ इंश्योरेंस लेते हैं. दैट इज माय टैक्सेबल वैल्यू एंड जीएसटी इज लेवीड ऑन द सेम. इफ इट इज अ सिंगल प्रीमियम एन्युटी पॉलिसी, आपको सिर्फ एक प्रीमियम देना है एंड यू आर इंश्योर्ड, तो 10% ऑफ द सिंगल प्रीमियम इज if in case allocation is not intimated to the policy holder. और नहीं, अगर सपोज इंटीमेशन है पॉलिसी होल्डर को कि लेट अस से आपका प्रीमियम का 20% लाइफ की तरफ जाएगा, 80% इन्वेस्टमेंट की तरफ जाएगा, और द वाइस वर्सा, देन वी विल डिडक्ट दैट 80 whatever is the percentage which is allocated to the investment portion, and that will be my taxable value. अदर केसेस जहाँ पे कुछ ऐसा नहीं पता, तो अदर केसेस में 25% ऑफ द प्रीमियम जो है for the first year will be my taxable value, and for subsequent year it will be 12.5%. Now suppose term insurance ले रखी है आपने जिसमें there is only life का risk cover, then the entire premium which you have charged is my taxable value. अब क्वेश्चन ये आया इस केस में कि जो पोर्शन हम रिड्यूस कर रहे हैं because that amount is allocated to investments and everything, whether the insurance companies should treat it as an exempt supplier. And why that is important is because they have to do a rule 42-43 allocation. उन्हें ITC reversal करना पड़ता है under 42-43. So the clarification was issued कि there is no requirement of reversal because ये exempt supply ही नहीं मानी जाएगी. Right. So the next circular is with respect to repair expenses on the reimbursement note. Now, आपने मोटर व्हीकल का इंश्योरेंस लिया, मोटर व्हीकल का इंश्योरेंस किया एंड गॉड फॉरबिड देयर हैज बीन एन एक्सीडेंट, आपका व्हीकल डैमेज हो गया। अब आपके पास दो ऑप्शंस है, यू गो बाय द कैशलेस मोड और यू गो बाय द रीइंबर्समेंट मोड। कैशलेस मोड में क्या होता है, जो आपका गैराज है, इफ दे आर इन द अप्रूव्ड लिस्ट ऑफ द इंश्योरेंस कंपनीज, गैराज एक नोट बना के भेजता है इंश्योरेंस कंपनी को, दे रेज एन इनवॉइस इन द नेम ऑफ इंश्योरेंस कंपनी, इंश्योरेंस कंपनी उनको डायरेक्ट पैसा देती है और जो उन्होंने इनवॉइस इशू किया है उस पर वो आईटीसी क्लेम कर लेते हैं एज पर सेक्शन 17 सबसेक्शन 5 बिकॉज दे हैव बीन गिवन एन एग्जेम्पशन। नाउ देयर इज अनदर वे, सपोज आप ऐसे गैराज के पास जाते हैं जो उनके अप्रूव लिस्ट में नहीं है, तो आपको क्या करना पड़ेगा, पहले आप पेमेंट करेंगे और उसके बाद आप उसका रिइंबर्समेंट लेंगे इंश्योरेंस कंपनी से। तो in that case the clarification which has been issued is, first the invoice has to be in the name of insurance company. Now suppose there are two there is whatever which the garage is charging you, some part of it is approved and some part of it is not approved. Then what you should do is they should raise two invoices, one in the name of the insurance company, the approved amount, and the second should be in your name. So the amount which is approved and it is in the name of insurance company, you can give it to insurance company, they can claim ITC on it and they will reimburse the amount to you. However, if they are not reimbursing the complete amount and they are reimbursing only partial amount, they will claim only proportionate ITC in that case. And with respect to vehicle owner, jo bhi whether they have received an invoice in their name or a certain portion which is not approved, they cannot claim since they are unregistered persons and it is also blocked. The next is ITC eligible on ducts and manholes. Optical fiber ITC is available on ducts and manholes used in optical fiber network. ये telecom industry के लिए आया है. Custodial services provided by banks to foreign portfolio investors. Such custodial services have the clarification again has been issued that these custodial services are not considered to have been provided by the account holders, and hence 13 subsection 8A of IGST Act is not applicable. That is the place of supply as location of supplier. In this case, 13 subsection 2 is applicable, which is place of supply is the recipient's location. And that is why it is going to be qualified as export of services. So that is all from my side. I now open the forum for